Hey folks, I wanted to give you an update on the Unified Civics Monuments Project. Thank you for viewing this presentation. I'll try to keep it brief. I attended a Zoom presentation from the artists Harold Woodridge and David Alan Clark this past Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, there was a public hearing for the monument's placement in Benton Harbor in front of a subcommittee of the Benton Harbor City Commission. So the slides that I'm presenting here are the new concept that the artist presented to the monuments team based on feedback that they had received in meetings over the past year or the past several months since they were selected as the artist team. So this location here is Dwight Mitchell City Park. It's right on Main Street in Benton Harbor. It's right across from the new dispensary Nobo and right before the 5th Street traffic circle. And it's right at the front of the park. The monument would exist in space that is not actually part of the park right now. It's more the park entrance. And I'll talk more about the placement conversation that the Benton Harbor City Commission had on the date on Wednesday. So let me just walk you through the monument here. This is the monument that would be placed in Benton Harbor, as I mentioned, at Dwight Mitchell City Park, right on Main Street. And so what you have is 3 walls with space in between each wall. And the 2 side walls are where local civil rights heroes would be honored. Mary Defoe was selected as one. Mary Defoe was a charter member of Berrien UU Fellowship. And then the other one is, Thomas Hart Benton, founder of Benton Harbor, I think. I don't really know that much about him. And then you have in the center, also then underneath some busts of those figures, there will be a plaque with a little information about each one of those people. And then in the center, you see a wall that has a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. The quote that's here is, "I have a dream that we will sit at a table of brotherhood." And so then you have Martin just a little bit larger than life size. They didn't want him to be really huge and overwhelming. They wanted him just a little bit taller than he was in real life. And he is standing with arms extended behind a circle table. And then pulled up to the circle table are blocks for chairs. The materials for the tables and chairs have not yet been selected. And then you see on the right side of this picture, a small figure, which would be a child, bringing to the table another chair, indicating the work of the future generation. And then the 2 blocks on the front right and front left are chairs that are left outside of the circle, and that is intended to communicate a message that there's still work to be done. So this is another look at that concept. So the local heroes, as I mentioned, would be Mary Defoe, and then Thomas Hart Benton with some information on a plaque, information about them on a plaque right underneath their bust. And then the "I Have a Dream" speech. One day, let's see, we will sit down together in a table of brotherhood. And then you've got the circular table and the chairs, and the child pushing the chair, the next generation coming to the table with ideas, and then the 2 blocks off to the sides indicating there's work to be done. And these would all be considered seating areas. So this is a drawing with a photograph of Martin Luther King Jr. that the artist said they would probably use for their sculpture. And then they really wanted the figure that represents the next generation to be a contemporary child, you know, someone who looks like they live in present day. And so they would have, you know, a present day appearance in terms of clothing and hairstyle. Harriet Tubman is just a sample bust to show that it would be, the bust would be the head of Mary Defoe and Thomas Hart Benton, and then a little bit of the chest and shoulders. And then they would be in the little cutout window there. And those two walls with the cutout windows are on either side of the Martin Luther King Jr. Quote wall. And then on the back side of the walls is an area for plaques. I think they were talking about 6 by 6 inch plaques, and those would be created new by school children each year. And there's really almost unlimited space in the monument to continue adding plaques each year. And those projects are being discussed in coordination with a local educator. I don't recall his name. Here's the top view of the monument space. And then this is the St. Joe site. And the proposed location is Compass Park below the bluff. So here on the left, you've got Silver Beach Pizza and the train station, and on the right, you've got the Compass Fountain. And in this, in this monument, you have two walls, again, cut out spaces for echo elements. There were no civil rights, local civil rights leaders identified for St. Joseph for the St. Joe side monument. And so at this time, those spaces are, they're thinking of leaving that blank, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So what you have here is a bench area, and you have the Martin Luther King Jr. figure seated on the curved bench, and then you have two children intended to be a black girl and a white girl, and they are running off to play together in the fountain, and you have Martin Luther King viewing that. Again, the figures would be dressed in contemporary clothing. They would have intend to have a contemporary look. And they want to portray Martin Luther King Jr. in more of a relaxed posture with you know, a smiling face as he watches the children run off to play together. This is the overhead view with MLK on the right here, and the children running off to play. And then this says existing vegetation, and then you've got the tile walls surrounding. And then in this monument, they're opting to put the Martin Luther King Jr. quote on the outside facing wall of the monument. And again, you've got the wall space for the tiles that would be created by local students each year and installed. The Krasl Art Center has agreed to be the caretaker of the monument. They will hold the insurance for the monument, and they will oversee the tile projects. So some of the concerns that were voiced both at in the artist presentation and at City Hall. So the city commissioners were concerned about placing the Benton Harbor Monument in this part of Dwight Mitchell City Center Park. They're concerned that that park is becoming congested, They're planning permanent installations for the farm market. They've got like a fitness activity area planned for that park, and they're just worried that placing the park there will further clutter that park, which is intended to be used to bring in the community. And also they're just worried about taking away more space in that open area, which is where a community concert was held Thursday last week. So the monuments team will be addressing those concerns. They really feel like this park placement is ideal for the monument because it is a very public space. People already come to that area, so it's not like putting it in a place where nobody ever visits. It's a very visible site, and it does offer seating. There are some benches in that area right now that this would replace, but the feeling was that you have these the seats in the monument, which hopefully would replace any seating needs, and replace those benches and meet any seating needs for this area. A concern I have with the monuments as they are right now, and this is a time for providing feedback. So if you'd like to provide feedback on the monuments, certainly do that. T Miller, T as in Tammy, T Miller @krasl.org is the email address for the person who's collecting the feedback. And one of the concerns that I voiced was that the Benton Harbor Monument has components that indicate there is more work to be done. And the St. Joe Monument does not contain those components. And moreover, the St. Joe Monument kind of, to me, makes it look like racism is a thing of the past, that MLK is relaxed and comfortable and happy, and everyone's happy, and there's no more racism, and the Black and white children are playing together. So I did voice that as a concern, and I really, really, really hope it will be addressed. There was lots of other feedback too. Just, other people tossing around ideas, and but so that's where the project is right now. I don't know where things are with the presentations in St. Joseph, but in Benton Harbor, the city commissioners referred the monuments team to a city master plan meeting that's taking place I think it's this week, because of their concerns about utilizing Dwight Mitchell City Park for this. They were hoping that the monuments people could work with the city planners and come up with an alternative space. But it was my impression during the city commission meeting that the commissioners didn't really have a good grasp of how much space the monument took up. They thought it took up way more space than it needed to, and they thought it took away space from the park, and it doesn't enter the park at all. If anything, it blocks the entrance to the park, which I kind of think might be an issue, but maybe something could be done on the to the far right and far left in this slide to make a different attractive entrance to the park area. Again, this is easy to find. It's right on Main Street, basically right across from Nobo. And it's a semicircular area, and that's the proposed spot for Benton Harbor. So just wanted to provide an update on this. I spoke with Clark about submitting a proposal at the annual meeting. And I'd still really like to see Buff contribute toward this project. You know, whether it be, you know, $50 or $1,000, whatever it is. I just think that this is a really amazing opportunity for Buff to, again, you know, show some commitment to racial justice issues in our area. Thanks for watching.